Gonna glide. Wait till about 5-6 feet.
Running into the sky and returning to the ground safely takes skill. This is our process of taking our students from zero to hero at Aviator. Welcome back to the Aviator Show. My name is Jim Reeves, and today we're going to be discussing our February class that we just had recently, and I'll be taking you through the steps of what they saw, what they experienced while they were here. Remember, though, that this is not a substitute for training. About me, my name is Jim Reeves. I'm from Northern Illinois, a Christian man, 55 years old, married to a Spanish woman, 30 years. And in 2020, me and my youngest son, he's the youngest of 4, lots of grandkids too, but he and we came here to Aviator in November of 2020 to train as students. And it was within just a couple months that I kept returning as an intern. And I've been coming back ever since. I've been instructing here now, we're in 2024, so I'm on my 4th year here, and I enjoy the process. It is a passion, as we like to say, of bringing students into the sky and sharing that passion with other people. I often say that flying, it is exhilarating. If you can do it with other people, it's 3 times better. So this is our way of sharing it with other people and getting more people in the sky and having that fellowship that we enjoy so much. We would like to connect with our paramotor and paragliding community. Submit your videos to us at Facebook Messenger or email at info@aviatorppg.com and be entered to win for a free Aviator t-shirt. For example, this right here is our Limitless t-shirt. We will announce the winners of this month's in next month's video review, so don't miss out. Let's get into it.
Tandem trikes. Yesterday they had their first touch on the wings. Today they're going to get the first taste in the sky. I think they're going to like it.
Conditions are very, very light wind. We have a little bit of fog right now that's starting to clear out, so we're getting ready to go for a launch, but I don't really mind no wind with the trikes. I don't have to run.
All right, so we have Jillian getting ready to take our students up for their first taste of the air. They're going up on a tandem trike. This usually happens a few days into our training. And the idea of going up on the tandems is not only giving them a taste of the sky, getting them familiar what it's like to feel up there, see if they're going to have any kind of motion sickness, but it also gives them an opportunity to have a lesson of what oscillation control is about. Oscillation control is a bit different on the ground than it is up in the air. On the ground, you don't have 3 whole dimensions affecting you. When the wing rocks back and forth, you're firmly on the ground. So if the wing rocks to the left, pulling to the right, moving forward is the right response. But when you're up in the air, gravity works differently. You're a pendulum now. And if you were to pull right, well, that wing that was going to correct itself is now getting overcorrected. So this gives the students an opportunity to actually use the correct hand, using the down side hand to dampen the oscillation that's already occurring with oscillation training. You see me running around with this stick trying to get a shot in, trying to be helpful. All right, and as you see right here, Jillian is inflating the wing, and similar to foot launch, we want to have control of that wing before we go up into the sky, and that's what she does here, and you see her do it consistently. She gets that wing stable over her head before she decides to throttle up. In this case, she actually taxis over to the taxiway before she does her takeoff. The instructors in this class were Whit, Fletch, myself. We had 2 interns, Grant and Jack, that were great help. It was a great team. We had a good time. All right, and here you're seeing a nice controlled landing, nice and smooth. And every landing, whether trike or foot launch, the landing's not over until that wing's on the ground, and you're actually not 100% safe from getting plucked up by the wind until you actually unclip from that wing. So we always want to keep focused to what we have going on around us and how we're hooked up. We had 6 students in this class. Dave from North Carolina, he's got quite a story. You'll see some more about him as the video continues. Brian Air Force veteran. We have Jason. He came to us from Montana. He was trying to do some self-training and then decided that was not a good idea, so he came out our way. He had a good time. Ken from Washington, Ron from Tennessee, and Paul from Baton Rouge. Plays a banjo.
Yeah, it's just gorgeous. The sun and the mist and just the cows is just so peaceful and beautiful. I can't even try to put it into words. It was amazing. I can't stop smiling, so that's got to be a good thing. I can feel my cheeks just stuck up here. So. But yeah, it's just, God, I want more of it. I know that.
The typical response after a student's trike flight is, yes, I want more of that. So this is a nice way to start off our classes. Now, immediately following these tandems, one of the next things that you'll see as far as flight operations go anyway, is you'll see us doing our towing operations.
We're towing today. That's the plan.
Bring on the towing. So first up is Dave from North Carolina, and we're going to look at this one a little bit. We won't see every aspect of every flight that these gentlemen have, but we will show you the highlights of their tows, some highlights of their taxi practice, and as well as their flights, their takeoffs and landings. So right here with Dave, let's look at his flight. Okay, so right here we're seeing, and Dave had a little bit of a tendency on this that he worked out, but if you see, his hands are a little bit forward of his shoulders, and you can see a little bit of curling on that leading edge of the wing. So on these inflations, that's some things that we pay attention to, is the person's posture and how the wing reacts to it. All right, once he released those A's, and he released them in a good time, and it allowed that wing to come back to life. He's still moving forward, very nice. All right, so right there we see him settling down a little bit. That's because his legs are getting a little soft. Sometimes we call that Gumby legs. It's nothing to be mean. It's just saying that his legs are starting to, he's feeling weightless, and he feels like he's almost in the air, so he wants to bring up that landing gear, but we encourage them to run in the sky, keep that landing gear down and moving until he's 20 or 30 feet up in the sky. That's a good habit to be into, because when you have an engine on your back and it dies unexpectedly, you want to have that landing gear ready for that ground that's going to be coming up shortly.
You did it, man! That's how you hook them. Get that first taste of flight and you're hooked.
All right, so next up here we have Jason. Nice job. Like Fletch said, he was doing awesome. He came down nice and gentle, and he even brought that wing down on its trailing edge under control. Excellent job, Jason. Next up is Ken. Keeping his arms back. He's dealing with what we had a little bit of a crosswind that day, so you can see how that wing is reacting to that wind coming a little bit from his left hand. As he builds up his speed, he can add a little bit of right pressure to keep that wing headed where he wants. He's got a little bit of an invitation to bring his legs up, and he's fighting it. Being a good robot.
Hands up, ready to run. Just gonna wait, pressure, all the way down. Run, keep your hands down, run, turn, pull your brake.
Good job keeping his hands down and bringing that wing down under control. Good job, Ken. This is actually a former student. His name is Chris, and he came back to just do some more practice. He's working his skills that he learned a few months back, later last year, and he just wanted to make sure that he was keeping his skills polished, because they are perishable skills. If you don't keep working them, they can atrophy like even a muscle. So next up is, here we have Paul, and we have him running into the sky. I'm going to back it up just a little bit, and we're going to just point out one thing here. right here. Now he's controlling the glider, but his arms are straight out. And that's just one thing that we do like to point out, that even though you can control the glider, you can control it much better if you relax those arms, bring the elbows in a little bit, instead of having them straight out. That's putting a lot of pressure on your shoulders. You'll have better fine motor control by bringing those arms in just a little bit. He's running into the sky. Didn't look like he had any tendency that he wanted to sit in the seat early. Comes off power. He's keeping his legs down, one right in front of the other. He's getting his pressure calls. And typically it is very often that people in the early morning, they'll have a little bit of dew on the grass. They're not really so sure of their feet, and they'll come in and they'll slide in like Paul did there. All right, so next up is our Air Force guy, Brian. And look, he is off the ground in no time. Flying. He's actually got some skydiving experience, so being in the air, dangling in the air is not new for him. And look how nice and high his hands are at. Just nice gentle pressures, keeping him up, saving his flare authority for when it is time to come down now. Jumpers do have a tendency to pull a little hard, which he did there, but he didn't give it back, which would surge him into the ground. So glad to see that from Brian, and he brought it down. He kited that wing down like a boss. Next up is Ron from Tennessee. Look at this nice inflation. He's got Grant talking him up into the air. Now he could have pulled a little bit more pressure to get him off the ground early. That's a good technique, especially if your legs if you're not used to doing all the running that sometimes we do. Pulling that pressure early helps get you off the ground. It's like takeoff flaps. He pulls down a little bit there. Yeah, he does pull down a little bit. I'm not giving him enough credit. Gets him back up to the pulleys. That's keeping his safety margin, because that pull down from the pulleys is what arrests that descent and helps it make it nice and soft. All right, way to keep the hands down, way to keep moving forward. Nice pivot, turns around, and brings that wing down to the ground. Good job, Ron. All right, this guy here, this is Kelly. He's one of our interns coming back, helping us out with our current class right now. But he was out there working his skills, enjoying the air, little foot drag, takeoff action. But next up, we have taxi practice. So now we're getting everybody in the mindset to put these skills together. They've been doing some kiting, they've done a tow day, so now they have an engine on their back. And can they put this all together and manage the wing, the throttle, and the 65 pounds plus whatever fuel on their back? And here we have Brian. Listen to Fletch's calls. So we can see how Brian's got a little bit of an oscillation of that wing back and forth, and he's also a little bit on, a little bit off of that throttle. Good job, Brian. Again, we're just doing some taxi practice here to make sure that we can put all the building blocks that we put them together so that they're ready for when they actually do first flights. Next, we have David up here. Okay, so again, let's watch his posture as he gets ready to inflate. Let's watch the wing as it comes up, and let's see how he transitions to controlling that wing and bringing on some power, and listen to the calls.
Run. Lift those A's up. Easy on the power. Release the A's. Keep running. Brake. Kill.
Okay, so what did we see? We saw the wing collapse. So let's look back and see why that would happen. And we've talked about it before. We said the posture is really important. So now he's leaning forward a little bit, which is kind of what we're used to doing. But in paramotoring, we want to use that engine more. But understand, this is his first go at taxi practice, so we're still kind of going with what we're used to doing in life, just kind of leaning forward as we're trying to move all this weight forward. And then notice how he starts moving forward. He feels that resistance pulling back on those lines on his arms, so he's fighting that. Instead of letting his arms flex back, he's pushing them forward, and watch how that leading edge curls forward a bit. And then as it gets up here, you can see just barely in the screen how that right side is just giving out, and his right hand along with it is pretty far forward also. Okay, so Whitney gives the call. She's calling for some brakes, see if we got something to save, but we don't, so she gives the call kill. Whenever we kill our engines, remember, we want to keep our engine, the blades, away from the lines, the hot engine away from the wing. We don't want to get pulled off on the back, so turning and facing the wing, getting that engine killed is our priorities. Here we have Paul, arms back. He's been working on keeping his arms back and not pushing them forward. This one is one of his better inflations. See how he's leaning forward? I'm giving him calls to lean back. His arms are way forward too. All right, so as I play it forward, pay attention to, again, his posture, how his arms are flexing back a little bit better than they are in many of his inflations. The wing is coming up nicely, decently. He releases. He comes into some pressure, but look how far his hands are forward and down. So basically, I like to use the analogy of we have our dance partner, and right now when you put your hands down, when you give it all that brake input, you're asking your partner to sit down, which is eventually what she does. You see this wing is sitting back more. I'm calling for some power. We got to feed it some energy to keep her up there. The thing that Paul should have been feeling here, let me pull it back. Now this wing is sliding back into its power band, into its par zone, where you're feeling all kinds of drag. So when that wing is back there, you should feel a lot of backward pull on that wing. Whereas before, a second ago, when it was over your head, you didn't feel that. That would be a hint that, or a cue, that this wing you're losing it. It's falling behind you. So that cue is your cue to get those hands back up and keep moving forward. Might sound like it's hard to do with this engine on your back, but the engine is running. So you squeeze a little bit of that throttle to help you move forward and bring some life into that wing. But if you're not going to get it up there, then the next best thing is to kill that engine turn and bring it down. And that's what I would do, like right here, because I don't see that wing having any inclination that it looks like it's going to be recovering right now. And that's why you're hearing the kill calls right now. So next up is Ken. Ken is being coached up. This is a taxi with Fletch in his ear. So the wing is a little bit off, but he steps over. He's giving a little bit of right brake input down around his chest. Adding some power, good. His lean back, he's kind of upright, maybe a little bit forward. And we need to work on that turnaround, of course. The wing did not come into his cage or anything, but it was pretty close. Here we have Jason. Good posture, upright, arms out. He looks very comfortable bringing that wing up. The wing's got a nice shape. Okay, and there's that wing starting to sit down. So how do we keep that wing up? Let's look at that one more time. If the wing is sitting back, it's lacking speed, and it's lacking speed because we're not moving fast enough and or we're too heavy on the brakes. So I can see some curve on that right side of that wing. Okay, now he's pulling some left, which is bringing that wing down. Okay, so this is Brian. So after some taxi practice and some success, he was ready for a flight. So this is where we're actually going to see a first flight from Brian. Okay, so what did we see Brian do? Well, we see some definite improvement from his taxi practice earlier on. So what are we seeing? Well, we see the wing come up, we see his arms out back, and we see better glider control, better throttle control. But then we see something else as the wing is increasing in lift. Okay, right there. So when you're not leaning back, as that wing starts lifting the paramotor up, it's starting to scoop into that flight position. which is not leaned forward. So how would Brian do better, and he does do better later on, is you get in that lean back position. As you feel that power pushing you along, you got to get your hips forward. You got to get your shoulders back so you can get in that lean back position. Then, instead of getting scooped, you'll actually be lifted up into the ground. That would be a much better posture for this. Also, his feet come up and they pretty much stay up. Fortunately, the wing did have quite a bit of lift, and he did not come down significantly. We will see a flight where one of our students actually did come down and the cage actually made some contact with the ground. All right, so here's Brian on his final approach. Already getting in his position, missing one shoe. So it was a gentle landing. Fletch was asking for some more flare, and he got away without having the flare, but he could have brought it down a little bit slower and not had to run as fast as he did. But for a first flight, that was good stuff. So here we have Jason getting ready for his first flight. He had a very nice inflation, checking his wingtips. Good job. Touch of power. Grant's asking for a touch of power. He's rolling it on nice and slow, getting some lean back in there. Good. Oh, but we don't want to drop on the power. All right, and then here we have Ken. Very nice inflation. Calling for some power. Wing is starting to go to the side. There's me carrying the wing poorly. I should be more careful of the wings. Get that off the ground, not drag it. Naughty. But Ken runs into the sky. Looks like he had a really good taxi. But because he's got a little bit of a lean forward, what would you expect? Well, you'd expect that once that wing starts getting his feet off the ground, it's going to scoop him. It's going to make him feel like he's getting flung into the air into his seat. And boom, he feels that invitation to sit and he goes with it. Gets right in the seat. Again, fortunately for him and the gear, he had enough lift that was not an issue. But that's not really a good habit to get into. You want to be ready to come down if that engine were to die at any moment. And here, this looks like it's going to be Ken's landing. Great view. Okay, Fletch calls for the chest forward. He kept his back kind of back. His legs are coming up a little bit and together. All right, so he brought that wing down nicely. I mean, not square on its trailing edge, but he didn't bring it down on. He did not bring it down on the machine. And it was a nice approach. He was not heavy-handed. And as we go forward, here he's putting one leg out in front of the other. He really could get that right leg farther back and get it more underneath him. And then Fletch calls for getting that chest out. But he doesn't. And now his leg structure is kind of collapsing there. He's putting his legs together, maybe not so sure of himself, which is common. A lot of people just like see this ground rushing by and is like, can I land this thing? You can. When you have the skills and the confidence, those are two factors that really help you. But look how nice and slow that ground was coming up. All he had to do was keep that right leg back, and that would help him move into a running position, and he could have run that one out. If you saw the flights that Ken was doing, he was quite proud of himself when he was actually running those out, because he did quite a few, and he enjoyed that quite a bit. So here's Brian. He's back up. This is one of his subsequent flights, and you see much more control. Checking the wingtips, being a good robot. Oh, he had the invitation to sit. He resisted, still had a little stutter step. Kept everything else in control. And had another acceptable takeoff, but we don't want to lift those legs. So again, we want to lean back and fight that invitation to sit. Lean way back and let the wing lift you straight off in the air instead of having it scoop you like that. And here we have another flight from Kevin, multi-views, very nice. Leaning way forward. All right, getting that back under control, getting his body more upright. Listening to the power calls from Fletch. And that was a very smooth acceleration from his engine. Let's play that again. Of course, we see him getting into the seat right away. That was something that we worked on, but let's listen to the how he handled the power. So very nice launch from Ken. I would just say that keep those legs down, run it out, and then you could also use a little bit of pressure to his shoulders. Here's his landing coming in. All right, so he's kind of on his feet. Kind of on his feet, but of course we'll improve that one. Here we have my student Ron. Ron from Tennessee with a very nice inflation. This wasn't his first taxi, but this was a very good one. I thought it would be a nice one to highlight.
Check your wingtips. There you go. There you go. Very good. This is looking very nice. Let's get another touch of power. Stabilize the wing. Easy on the right hand. Step a little bit left and then bring the hand back up. There we go. You think you want to go flying? You give me a nod or shake your head. Okay, there we go. We're going to kill your engine. Keep moving forward. Brakes, 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 brakes. Get in front of your wing. Turn your left. Turn your left. Step to the
Good
right.
job, Rod, bringing that down. So I'll just play that back a little bit so we can watch it one more time. Ron, unfortunately, he had an issue with his leg that he dealt with during the training. Fortunately for him, he can come back for a whole year after this training to get some more follow-on training so he can get his flights up to where we would like to have them, get some more proficiency built in. But even with those leg issues, that being what it is, you see this really nice taxi. He's moving forward. I'm liking what I'm seeing, and I give him a question. I said, "Are you ready to go flying?" And he didn't say anything right away. I said, "I need a nod or you to shake your head," and so he shook his head, and so we didn't fly. Otherwise, he was looking solid on this taxi here.
Touch and keep moving forward. Control that wing. Check your wingtips. Check your wingtips. There you go. There you go. Very good. This is looking very nice. Let's get another touch of power. Stabilize the wing. Easy on the right hand. Step a little bit left and then bring the hand back up. There we go. You think you want to go flying? You give me a nod or shake your head. Okay, there we go.
Okay, so we aborted the launch. He wasn't ready to fly, so we didn't push it. Now that was a bit of a long taxi. Often our first taxis are a bit longer, making sure that our students are getting all the steps in when they should be getting them in. Ron was doing quite well there. As students progress, they typically bring up that power a little bit quicker, more assertive with the power. They're leaning back better. They're maintaining glider control. So you see all those things building together, and it's not so delayed. All right, we've got Kelly back up doing another launch. Get another peek at one of our interns getting up in the sky, having some fun. Here we have another former Aviator student, another Aviator alumni. This is Farman, working the skills, running into the sky. He's got his arms out a bit wide. Practice is very important. Practice is very important. It's always good to see him out in the field getting some more practice. Oh, okay, this is me. Trying to be a good example. Trying to do all the right things. I'll be watching for the critiques in the comment section. All right, so we have Dave up here. Look at Dave making the progress. Look at that wing come up. Arms were in a little bit, but he's controlling it. I'm going to go back and just see how far in they were when he first started off. Now, actually, he's got them out here. Very nice, Dave. Wings coming up. It has a nice shape. He, boom, releases the A's, comes into control immediately. Very nice. All right, he's working on some power in the lean back. More power, more lean back. Legs are moving. Little stumble, no big deal. Little bit of a jump in the seat. We see that plenty enough. And he gets off into the sky. Good job, Dave. And Dave had been working so hard to get up in the sky. Do you think he wanted to come down? No, he's up there still. He's enjoying that sun. getting a lot of this. He's enjoying this. He worked hard for it. Good on you, Dave. Nice angle for Dave, watching him come in on his approach. Look at that. He knows the thing to do. He's getting a leg out in front of the other. He was doing all the right things up to the very last moment, but there's the hand of a champion. He knew he just flew. We'll go back there for just a little bit, and then I'm going to let you see some of that after stuff, after emotion here with Dave. So right here, he's coming in, and he is leaning back a little bit. He is leaning back. He would be in a better running position if he got his chest out forward more over his legs. Okay, and then she calls for the all the way down. His legs kind of flinch, and they're coming up. And a little bit of a bounce. No injury. Very proud of what he just did. Good job, Dave.
Give yourself a victory lap, sir. Woo!
Watch your step. One wheel, still the most dangerous thing of paramotoring.
Yeah, they're proud of you too.
Woo! I did it, man.
Wait, I mean, you had so many taxi practices, right?
Bunch of them, yeah.
And you didn't give up.
I didn't give up, no way.
It's a mindset. So why don't you talk about that? What was this? Talk about the struggles.
All the struggles, the weight loss, the diet. I gave up alcohol. It's been, and just working out, the workouts. I've done so many workouts. That was that I wouldn't be able to walk out here or squat it. That would have killed me if I'd have felt it 6 months ago.
You're a spruce goose, though. You're young. How old are you?
I'm 61. It's the most incredible thing that anyone can do. Everybody's got to try it at least once. They got to take a tandem ride or something. Just get out there and try it one time. If you don't fall in love with it, it's okay. But if you fall in love with it, it becomes your life, and it's beautiful. I'm so excited.
Great job, David. Thank you. I'm so proud of you, man. You did so good, okay? Let's start walking back, all right? Great job, man.
What a beautiful evening to get his first flight in. Good job. Here we have Dave again. Has he had enough? No, he hasn't had enough. He loves this stuff. Bringing that wing up, kiting it forward, more comfortable with what he's doing, rocking on some power, getting some lean back in there, keeping the legs moving, keeping the legs moving, keeping the legs moving. Nice job, Dave. Nice takeoff. Here's me trying to reverse. Not quite managing the energy of that wing. Too much brake, Jim. Too much brake. There we go. A little bit more speed, feeling out the wing. Looking for a short lift off. Got into his seat a little early. All right, so Dave is up there. He's waiting for this jump plane to land. So we see Dave coming in here underneath his Mojo wing from Ozone. Got his arms all nice and calm. Okay, his pressure was a little bit high, ballooned up a little bit. That first pressure, rather, should be just to your shoulders. Now, if he's already in a little bit, then he's already robbed himself a little bit of flare. But this one comes in a little deep, and then he starts to balloon up just a little bit. That wing rocks up. So he's told to hold, so he doesn't dive the wing down, and he gets his legs down. His hands down. Just didn't have his legs underneath him to catch that descent. All right, so here we have another alumni who happened to be in town. This is Wendy on her trike, getting in some of her practice. She likes to travel around. She likes to fly her trike. We actually did a little bit of a stole comp. My first ever, and she was in there too. We had a good time. She's bringing it nice and smooth. And touchdown. Here we have Paul.
Keep arms back, keep coming forward, keep coming.
Been working his skills a little bit, getting some more flights in. Brings the wing up.
There you go, keep touch the power. Kick that right hand, kick that right hand. There we go. Keep running. Very nice. Kill the motor.
All right, so let's look again at Paul. We'll talk about that a little bit clip that we have of him. All right, so we see that wing, it's got a decent shape to it. That right side is a little curled in, so why? Well, as we see moving forward, he's always got that right hook moving. I talked to him about it. He doesn't realize that he has it a lot of times. It may be just a kind of a nervous clinch that he has on that right side, but we can see how the wing reacts to that.
Coming forward, keep coming, release control, and just easy on the power, just keep coming forward. There we go, looking good, looking good. There we go, keep, pass the power, fix that right hand, fix that right hand. There we go, keep running, keep running, keep running, keep running, keep running, keep running.
All right, so to his credit, he kept running, and he increased the power when he was called for. The one thing that we could do better is just get into that takeoff posture. We do posture, power, and then pressure to our shoulders, and that'll get us off the ground nice and smooth.
Tell the motor, trust it, it's going to settle. Beautiful. Don't pull anything yet. Don't look straight. All the way. Deeper, 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 deeper. Keep your hands down, keep your hands down, keep your hands down, keep your hands down. That's it.
Look at Ken landing on his feet. Nice job. I did mention about a hoop drag. This was with Paul. We see that right hand hooking just a little bit. He's got a nice, good run, and then he gets off his seat. I'm thinking this thing's going down. I'm saying let's kill, but he's got flying set in his mind. The hoop does a little bit of a drag here, but not so much that it snags the ground too much. He actually gets off the ground, and he ends up having an otherwise uneventful flight. These guys are flying Vittorazzi Moster 185s. That's what's pushing them up into the sky, letting them to enjoy their launch here in the sky. Here at the school, we're very fortunate to have Ozone wings, and they're safe Mojo wings that we like to use. They're rated A-rated wings for our training here at the school. All right, thanks again for watching along with us and learning with us. I would encourage you to submit some videos, and we can get you entered to win a free t-shirt. If you have not been through the training and you're looking at this and you want to say, I want to be a part of that, I want to run in the sky, then you need to be checking out aviatorppg.com. You give Kristen a call and we'll get you worked in one of our classes, and we'll see you here in Florida. Make sure you like and subscribe and give us some comments. And we'll see you again on the next one.